This one is called Slooty, Flight Commander Story. And it comes to us from Mark. Sergeant Pop, well, what happened to your camera just turned off out of nowhere?
Oh, shit.
What the heck happened?
I don't know.
It literally just turned off. Device is sleeping. How about resume? Will it turn back on?
It's
There
on.
it goes. What the hell? That was bizarre.
I don't know.
Just for the record, I didn't touch it.
Well, this house is haunted.
Haunted. Yeah, wouldn't shock me. All right. Before I get started with my story, I'd like to thank you and recognize you as a true leader amongst us. I've been involved with the high-speed, low-drag secret squirrel community nearly my entire time in the military. From my experience, the military likes to send all the brown-nosing, rank-chasing daywalkers to leadership schools in hopes of creating a leader that's worth a damn. As we both know, that's essentially like throwing shit at the wall and hoping something will stick.
Yep.
I wasn't close to my first shirt, as they were rotating in and out of the squadron and was acting more as an administrative support function rather than playing an emotional or even mission type of support as traditional shirt would. I and most of the squadron had that sort of relationship with our squadron commanders and directors of operations. What I see in them is what I've seen in you. Funny enough, our first squadron commander, when they reactivated our unit, was a former Ranger that swapped over to Air Force. His favorite thing to say to us was, "Y'all will never know how satisfying it is to stick a knife right into someone's neck." Sounds like a man with deep-seated issues.
Yeah, no. To me, that's the equivalent of mental rape.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
And that goes both ways when that happens. Having fun with us because we're all drone pilots, we gave him the call sign Spartan 1. Years later, he still has an official parking spot at the front of the compound with his call sign on it. My neighbor is retired full bird, and this man is still coming around and checking up on me. He's involved with all the veteran events in town, and he's a hell of an American and a leader. Anyways, thank you for what you do, Sarge. You're a real one. On to the story. I joined the Air Force back in 2012 as a drone pilot. It's not the official title, but it's more relatable to the public. Although the official title calls us operators, which in my opinion, that title is reserved for the door kickers and pipe hitters.
Correct.
For my first 2 years or so, I was in the 18th Recon Squadron, which worked directly with Task Force 3.2 in AFG, later moving to Iraq and Syria with the second invasion. AFG of Afghanistan, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
We flew 3 to 4 birds in support of JSOC, Joint Spec Ops Command missions, depending what's on deck for the day. Missions were amazing. Raids, pre-raids, convoys, danger close situations, armed overwatch, all the awesome close air support goodness that any young man in his 20s would love to be a part of. Since we're the bopping back and forth between teams on the ground, I'd take part in a raid one moment, capturing or executing the bad guy, then skipping right over to new MGRS coordinates and popping a sniper with a Hellfire that's taking pot shots at our boys on the ground. It was extremely fast-paced. Couldn't ask for a better mission set at the time. My flight, which was known for having the most Hellfire strikes, buddy lasers, and mission experience out of the other flights in the squadron, was flying high and doing well as a unit. That is until the Desert Queen from Hell came back from her deployment around my 1-year mark of being in the flight.
Okay.
First, let me physically describe this biatcha.
Okay.
The epitome of military hot. Not fat, not weirdly tall, straight teeth and a heartbeat. A true 5 out of 10.
Yeah, deployment 8.
This Kunta Kente wasn't even originally part of the team. She was on another flight. But having since ranking up to Captain 03 while on deployment, she needed a place to be as a captain. So the wise move was obviously to put her in charge of 30 to 35 other pilots, many of which are senior to her not only time and rank, but rank in general.
Yes, that happens all the time.
So now we have our new flight commander, which just so happens to be coming off of the Desert Queen experience. After a full year of hacking the Mish and throwing warheads on foreheads, our flight's cohesion essentially comes to a grinding halt, after being known as the flight that gets shit done to being a shadow of itself. As acting flight commander, her main priority was to see how she can feed her OPR, Officer Progress Report, not in a way that will benefit both herself and the flight, but just her. She asked everyone that went through ROTC or had college credits to submit a bunch of paperwork to get some sort of generic college degree from the Air Force so that she could take credit that she had an entire flight get a college degree, essentially. If you didn't want to do it or anything she deemed as important, self-important, she'd punish you. She'd take away gym and PT time, add BS additional duties, deny pending days requested off, make you come to the office even if you're beyond your legal allowed flight hours, just to be a seat meat in a simulator.
All right, hang on. So what he's explaining is her behaving like a Kandaha.
Yes. Sounds like a Dina
Yes,
situation.
it's exactly what Dina used to do as well.
Self-serving. She's literally using little loopholes to make our lives miserable because she isn't getting her way. How does this help fight the war? It doesn't. Now imagine the sort of wrath one would have to deal with on a daily basis with an individual as vindictive as her. My additional duty was standards and evaluations. I'd prepare weekly tests of 5 to 10 questions on general weapons systems knowledge. Our squadron already had a monthly mandatory operations limit, an emergency procedures quiz, and requalifiers every month. My flight was further sharpening that knife with our own weekly tests. Well, that wasn't enough for the queen bitch. She needed to add more. So much more that she made a fresh butter bar make more tests alongside me. His role was to make 20 more questions. Example 1 of dumb bish behavior. Once upon a beautiful night for hunting terrorists, making the world right with one hellfire at a time, I was in a debrief room helping some new airmen work the video editor for their mission debrief presentation, and then Queen Bitch comes storming in.
There you are. Been looking for you.
What's up?
I need you to go create Lieutenant Parker's questions for the week.
Having less than 15 minutes before my 6-hour mission, I don't have time. I'm about to fly.
I don't care. Tell the crew you'll be late. This has to be done.
I'm not going to do that. Plus, that isn't my job. She storms out, literally like a child. Now I've got these fresh young airmen seeing her leadership in action. The reason Lieutenant Parker wasn't able to get his quiz published was because the very same bitch was flying him until his legal limit, literally trying to max him out because the new guys need the hours. Yes, but not under a dictator shit like hers.
Wow.
I don't see her or talk to her for the rest of the night. Daywalkers come in sipping their lattes, talking about the game or some middle-of-the-day hot dog cookout those administrative staff cocksuckers were always having on shift. Ugh.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty good.
Daywalkers are similar to POGs from my rough understanding of Army lingo.
Pogues.
Pogues. I return the next night for mission briefing and shit has hit the fan.
Oh.
Queen Bitch went and cried to the squadron commander that one of her minions wasn't playing her manipulation games. Commander had only heard half the story, and since his role by nature is a daywalker, we didn't get to see each other until my flight rotates shifts. All that was said was if anyone were to say that again, that ain't my job, which was half the story, they should rip the patch off their flight suit and have security forces escort them off base. Now, I'm thinking I got some sort of reputation with the commander because of a fib. He never confronted me about it at all. I think he knew something else was up. You see, prior to this, Queen Bitch and I weren't on bad terms. She just never experienced a no from me. Not because her mid-level attractiveness was so seducing, I just haven't had any personal issues until then.
I've had the same problem in
Yeah.
the military. Like, literally, I've had officers come up and they start giving me orders. I'm like, I don't fucking work for you. Go to my commander and go through the proper chain. And they get all fucking twisted up. And
Yep.
literally, I'm like in the middle of something. I'm like, you're being a fucking cockaholic. I mean, come on.
You're not wrong. He continues, weirdly, we went to the same high school in Texas. She was there 5 to 6 years before me. Cheerleader, big surprise. Judson High School in San Antonio, go Rockets. She'd always playfully flirt with me.
Oh, God.
She'd take half her flight suit off, just wearing a santee, no bra, while we're flying in an ice cold cockpit because we have a bunch of computers running. No shit, my roommate, who was also on my flight, who was a bodybuilder, told me she was straight up doing yoga while flying with him, putting her legs behind her head while piloting in seat. Like, what the hell? Sloot's gonna sloot, I guess.
Oh, my God.
Trying to sell yourself to dudes under your command. Nice.
All right, all right.
Example number 2, we have a messaging system that we can direct messages to anyone that is essentially sitting in a drone cockpit or intel entities that are watching and providing mission information to pilots like Iron Man has Jeeves from computer stations. When you get seated in your cockpit, you can change call signs and names in this messaging system. Well, this Slooty McBitch was trying to have sex with another pilot in our sister squadron, who was in another SCIF, Special Compartmentalized Information Facility, within the same area. Her message,
Hey, do you want to meet in the janitor's closet?
who it was meant for, was Hatchet, which is the call sign. Who it went to, Hatcher, last name of our former flight commander before she took over. That spread through the squadron quickly.
Okay.
Hatcher was a skinny, good old boy from Tennessee with the thickest southern drawl east of Mississippi, and to hear him say, "Well, damn, I thought I still had it," during the mission debrief for the day in front of everyone was beyond hilarious.
Yeah.
Example 3, holiday schedule. Typically, this shitty task is taken care of by the poor fuckers that got scheduling as an additional duty. However, it does get signed off by the flight commander before it's committed. So the flight commander has editing rights. Well, to make a long story short, after all the holidays off, we were decided and folks were putting in their leave in the official system, days off and schedules started moving around mysteriously.
That's common.
That was the final straw for my good buddy Matt. He started an IG complaint.
Yes, that's what you do.
Yes, he somehow figured out how to get proof of her changing the schedule. He started secretly collecting testimonies from all the other pilots, including some intel folks. Most wanted their reports to go anonymous. They didn't want to get a bad rep like myself. By the time he had the package ready for the IG, it was as thick as a Game of Thrones book. Could have been larger, but some folks opted out, fearing some sort of backlash in the long run. Matt brought the entire package to our squadron commander, call sign Flash, told him what's up. Got my name essentially officially cleared in the meantime as well. Despite being brought all this evidence, he didn't want to get into it, as he was retiring, so he encouraged Matt to bring it to the IG. Shortly afterwards, an investigation started and quickly ended. She got removed from the squadron. She got promoted to be a schoolhouse instructor for initial pilot qualification in Holloman, New Mexico.
The same thing happened to Dana. Like, literally, a one-star general basically showed up because I had filed all these IG complaints, and two of them were founded, and they're pretty serious. And she mysteriously went to Harvard on some kind of scholarship thing, and then she got promoted to 06. And I think she wore that rank for like 1 year before they kicked her ass out.
Well, I bet I know why she got the promotion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. She wrapped her lips around some of that.
Yeah, listen, that was one of the big rumors. It's like she's got to be a cockpit for somebody else.
A cockpit.
I mean,
even more ironic when she's in the Air Force.
like
You a
that
cockpit
woman.
dame?
Well, like that woman that did 300 dudes in a year. She's got a cockpit now.
Yes, she does.
There you go.
The Temple of Doom. These positions are ultra-rare positions, which you basically work as a part-time guardsman due to the flight schedule. She truly failed upwards.
Correct. They always do that.
About a year later or so, the 867th Attack Squadron was reactivated along with the 17th and 22nd within the 732 operational group. Which this group is an acting arm of a certain three-letter agency. Matt and I ended up getting picked by the group and flying some of the coolest secret squirrel high-speed, low-drag weapon systems. The mission wasn't as fast-paced as gun running with the spec ops dudes, but the gadgets, planes, our building amenities were top-notch. Our paychecks even switched over from U.S. Treasury to, well, you know.
Yeah.
While in our brand new, literally, squadron, we hear word that Queen Bitch has made another oopsie. It seems she had another IG investigation due to fornicating with her students. Sloot's gonna sloot.
Sloot's gonna sloot.
No clue what happened to her after that investigation. Hell, she may very well be in the highly sought-after astronaut program now, knowing big military. Mm-hmm. And here's a cherry on top. My former squadron commander, Flash, retired and ended up becoming the recruitment officer for General Atomics, folks that make the drones. Okay. He actually had an office within my squadron's SCIF to oversee operations as everything is getting stood up. I'd see him once or twice a week. He offered me a position when I was separating. At the time, I had other plans and was set on leaving the lifestyle completely. Matt ended up staying in and is a major in the reservist unit on the East Coast, closer to his family.
Good.
While we didn't take the offer, it was definitely a nice bit of closure for that time in our lives. Big win for the boys. Hope y'all enjoyed what was essentially my first 2 to 3 years in the chair force. I personally don't take offense to that, as the seats in the Secret Squirrel Squadron were literal custom-made seats from Recaro, premium race car seats, fully electric and adjustable.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And listen, in my time, I have sent probably 20 guys into the Air Guard or Air Force.
Yeah.
From the Army. Yeah.
There's a couple of pictures that he sent in of different stuff that he's done and things that he's flown here. Blades can cut the roof off a car as Al-Qaeda deputy leader was struck by a ninja missile in 2017 in Syria. Well, there you go.
Wow.
Specially modified Hellfires intended to limit damage compared to typical missiles left a car destroyed by a U.S. drone airstrike that targeted suspected Al-Qaeda militants 2012 in Yemen. On the right, U.S. airstrike using a modified Hellfire killed Al-Qaeda deputy leader Abu Khair el-Masri in Syria 2017.
So it's basically it's a missile with like 8 samurai swords on it.
Waha!
That's some scary shit right there. Huh?
It is.
It's gonna be honest.
Some good shit.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.